Hey, I'm Erik Gordon, and this is my 40-foot tiny house schoolie called the Mountain Bus here in beautiful Boulder, Colorado. As always, trying to live as minimally as possible and also have a ton of options as far as where I can live, what I can do, and being cost effective. I live part-time in a VW van. Started out doing that for about 3 or 4 years, and now we've upgraded to a larger situation. In my life, Craigslist seems to just be the way that I find all things good. It's how I found my old 71 VW, found this one super beautifully built out down in southern Colorado, and I reached out to him, and it turns out it was built out by a high school shop class. They were looking to sell it to essentially fund their art program and their outdoor program. Being a climber and an artist, I was stoked on that. So we went down and checked it out, and it was everything we wanted. It was a very simple build out with there's no inset plumbing, or there had been no solar setup put in there yet, and we already had both of those situations figured out. We started off when I drove the bus off of the schoolyard that same day when I was first driving this 40-foot school bus, which I've never driven something this big before. Ended up actually having a friend who has a 40-foot driveway, exactly, like garage to sidewalk. We started off living in a school bus downtown Boulder around $1 million mansions. Definitely got some strange looks for that. Soon after that, our friend that owns this property in this house with this beautiful backyard put it out there that she really wanted to kind of start a collective living situation. She just moved in here and really wanted to still embrace community and have a strong sense of friendship around here. So I had to like widen the fence to sneakily drive this in because we're in kind of a quiet neighborhood here. And so I had to ram the curb and shoot the gap to get this 40-foot school bus in this backyard, all while doing it like to not draw really much attention. This is the Mountain Bus. It's a 40-foot, 1990 Thomas Schoolie tiny house. First off, we have the glorious Schoolie front door, very important to getting into your bus. We are heated all by a big wood-burning stove inside, so we've got our hardwood stuff protected under the bus here. That's where we're storing everything. We've got a couple of storage compartments here for all the gear and stuff that we can't fit in there. We try and keep it as tidy as possible. Probably one of the most important things of alternative living or anything like that, living in a bus, is gonna be your solar setup. So we've got a 4-panel Goal Zero setup here, and we decided not to mount it on the roof just because I don't know if I've had time, to be honest, but also it gives you a lot more mobility as far as getting your most optimum sunlight wherever you are. So as we cruise around back here, there's a large diesel engine in here that I don't know how to work on, so that's important. Very important to shove all of your blankets and sleeping bags against the windows to insulate your sleeping quarters in there. My very fancy way of getting the solar into the bus is drilling a hole in there. Definitely. This is actually a pretty great feature here, is that we just have access to inside the bus here. The wood burning stove is right in here, so this is where we also have another wood pile that we're able to just chuck some wood in there when we need. We've got one more very large, hard to open thing here with some more bins, outdoor gear, our winter setup right now. One cool thing actually is the clearance that this bus has is, you know, what schools take to all their sporting games in the mountains here. So that's pretty great. We got a little bit of clearance if we want to get gnarly. Here's a very jerry-rigged chimney situation that maybe cost me about $6 total. Found this all at the recycle place. Just like the engine, here's a bunch of wires that I don't know what they do, but I did dismantle the emergency alarm so that we can open that back door without waking up the neighbors. And last but not least, these are the mirrors that I hit my head on very often when I'm walking around the bus. Welcome to the inside of the Mountain Bus here. Come on in. In the doorway here, we got our nice winter coat set up. Got all the shoes going on here, a little shoe rack, and skateboard. You guys come on inside here. We've got the living room, the kitchen, and the writing table. We decided not to do any sort of intense plumbing for the setup, so we just have, this is a 3-gallon classic countertop dealio, and you just flip that on, we got water. This is a little catch sink where we can do some dishes, like in the summer, like that window will be down, we just toss it out there. We try and use things that aren't harmful to just, you know, put back in the ground. Since we travel a lot in our VW van and camp for months at a time, we have decided to use all of our camping gear, because we have so much, as our in-house gear as well when we're not traveling. This setup, we'll just unscrew it and take it with us on the road, and then when we come back, we just plug it right back into the propane tank we got under here. And this is just kind of some simple storage. Here we just got an extra water tank, some random tools. You end up having an impressive tool collection once you've lived in an alternative or a tiny house thing, because there's always something that could be fixed, or you could move it 2 inches and it'll change your life. Here we just got a little writing table. This actually used to be like probably twice the size, and then when you're living in a small space for long enough, you realize you only use this much of the table. We could probably even cut this down to half this size. We got a bench / cooler under here. So we try to make that look as classy as possible while still being a fridge. This is that glorious wood burning stove, still a little warm from last night, that I was talking about. This is kind of like the biggest thing that, especially winters in Colorado, living in a bus, you can imagine our floors do get pretty cold, just because it's, you know, there's that wind flow underneath the bus that tends to really cool it down. So having a really big wood burning stove is excellent. We got some more lighting here from the Goal Zero setups. We have a larger lead acid battery there, and then a lithium battery over in this side. Continuing farther and farther into the chasm of glory, we have our wood burning wood, some little chips here to get the fire going, and then bigger logs down there. If anybody out there is going to be using a wood burning stove as your main source of heat, always buy hardwood. Just do it, spend the money. And into the humble bathroom situation. It's an awesome hack that I learned about from somebody. If you're a 5-gallon, I guess you call wastewater tank, and then a funnel. In that funnel, you put a ping pong ball. Pee goes in there, and then it caps it automatically, and there's no smell. We have a self-composting toilet that is essentially, you got your bucket, your compostable bag, and then we take ash from the fireplace and use that as our compost initiator, and it also neutralizes all bad things, and it's just super simple. Well, we got some more coolers here. We're really big on coolers in the mountain bus. Just for, we'll take that one camping or whatnot, or use it as a shelf. In the summer when we're using our mountain bikes, that's a huge thing that we love to do. They both fit right here in this kind of space. Right back here, we got the bedroom, the closet, which I get very little space of. And then on this side, we got the wheel wells here again. So one side of it is the shelving and the closets, and the other side is just some more hanging space. This is a full king-size bed platform back here, but we don't have a king-size bed, because who really needs that? That's ridiculous. In a tiny house? That doesn't make sense. And lastly, the cool thing that came with this bus is the doggy door. This is, right there. We use it as storage right now because we don't have a dog, but it just reminds us that one day we got to get a bus dog. It's probably corny, but maybe not. I own a coffee business that I run out of my VW van around the country, and I've incorporated the advice of life is short, live your dream, find your line. I think of those on a daily basis. So simple. Life is extremely short when you think about it. What one thing would you do with this magnificent life? You should just start living a dream as soon as possible. That looks different for everybody. So the find your line part is just kind of like, what line are you going to choose to get to that point in life where you're doing exactly what you want, and if you died tomorrow, you would be a happy person. Figure out the direction that you really want to start putting yourself down and start to look for the avenues that you can do that. When you find the one that feels right and you know it feels right, don't hesitate, go for it. You know, if you have the ability to do it, just do it. Or even if you're not even there yet, create that path for yourself to where once you start changing your lifestyle in that kind of way, you realize how little you really need as far as creature comforts, and then how much more important, or how these things have always been important, just like the people around you, the things that you spend your time doing, just being happy, is you're able to focus so much more energy on that rather than cleaning a massive house or worrying about paying large bills for things that don't really add much value to your life besides, you know, they look nice.
I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. If you did, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to find out more about Erik, you can find him over at Carabiner Coffee. And today's episode was filmed on the DJI Osmo Mobile. They're having a holiday special where you can get one discounted. So if you're interested in getting a gimbal for your mobile phone, the DJI Osmo Mobile, go over to DJI and buy one. Get it discounted. Have a great week. Bye.